Tumpang Tanya, Tumpang Tanya, Tumpang Tanya Pastor. Pastor, can I ask you something?
I like the question, how it's framed in a way that they use the word priority or prioritize. I would think that I would like to prioritize my life according to God's priority. And I think in God's priority, the church is quite high. And yes, the job is somewhere there too. So to put one against the other is not healthy and not right. To put one or the other also is not right. Remember that the Bible says about Jesus that zeal for your house has consumed me. Can I just tell you that there needs to be a north in our lives, all of our lives, and your job is not your north. God is, yes, but God represented on the earth, he designed it so that the church becomes a very clear, visible north. That's why if you go to any city, even in Europe, you will go into like, I remember when Pastor Henry and I went to Vienna, we took a train into the city. As soon as we got out, we saw this beautiful cathedral. And the cathedral was right in the center of the city. And many European countries had got chapels, churches, or cathedrals in the city center, And you would think to yourself, isn't that the most expensive property? How did the church afford it? No, the church didn't have to afford the expensive property because the church was there first. They built the community and the city around the cathedral. Do you understand? And this goes on and on, even with the Temple of Jerusalem, etc. God always meant for us to, no matter how we build our houses and our offices, that the church, not the building, now I'm moving away from the building, but I'm using that as an analogy, will always be the center. And so there must be a north. And I tell you this north, even though we might not have time for it, Pastor Matt, it really does help us focus and prioritize. And I'm not asking to look at the church or the building, but as you look at the church, you actually look to God. Now, I move away from that. You all mull over it for a while. The other thing is, if you are only going to prioritize your job, and I know that in bracket the question had, but I still serve community, all right? I still serve community. That's not very different from a Buddhist or a Muslim. In fact, some of them do even more than us. And I look at it going like, I want to prioritize my job, but I'm still doing good works. You're not very different, my friend. What's the difference? The good work sometimes is the one that causes us to be satisfied or self-pleasing, that at least we're doing something for God. My question is, are you sure you're doing it for God? Because a lot of people talk about market ministry, and they have a thought about just good works as marketplace ministry, but they could be working in their office for 10 years and never telling anybody about Jesus Christ.
Yes, exactly.
How could you be working, doing good works only, but as a Christian, never sharing the gospel with anybody? How could you call that marketplace ministry? So is marketplace ministry only good works? Then I would tell you that you are no better, you might as well just be in another religion, because many others are doing that. Yep. So let's not just paint our own picture of marketplace ministry. A marketplace ministry must be a ministry that exalts Christ, preaches him, shines him, and leads people to him. And good works, yes, can be part of that channel, but without Christ, you have no marketplace ministry. And I think every Christian should understand that. Now, what helps us with that is the church, because we remember that the church preaches Christ and etc. etc. When you go to church, you remember about all these things. Again, Pastor Matt, I do not want to sound like I'm knocking this person asking this question, because it's a very good question. And yes, it's a matter of priority, but priority doesn't mean ministry or not. Work and no ministry in church. That's not what priority is, no?
Yep.
Priority is, this is number one, that is number two. So a priority question cannot be full-time in my marketplace and 0 in church. That is not priority. But when you talk about priority, someone has to be number one and someone has to be number two. So whether you want to put church as number one, a marketplace as number two, or marketplace is number one, church is number two, that's fine. That's really fine. But at least one of it, 1 and 2 lah. It cannot be yes and no. This or that. Once you say this or that already, it's no longer a matter of priority.
Yep.
It's a matter of something else. I can only do one thing. I can only concentrate on one thing, and I will continue doing good works out there. And I now feel satisfied. I feel like I've done my part. And because I've done my part in the marketplace, then forget about ministry. Can I tell you this, Pastor Matt? I just want to very quickly say this. In Indonesia, we hear about top executives, managers, directors, chairpersons, serving in church on Sunday as ushers. Now, which impresses you more? And I know some of you will immediately say, "Oh yeah, is it about impressing people?" No. But you know what I'm trying to say. A big boss somewhere at the front door of his church on Sunday passing out bulletins. Right? Now, you have a big boss, a Christian, who does nothing on Sunday because he says, "I've done everything already from Monday to Saturday." Or a big boss that says, "I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord." These are David's words. And David was a king, and he said, "I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord." That's because David had such a passion for the house that that a king could say, I don't mind being a doorkeeper. So everybody here, be something lah, both sides. Don't shortchange yourself and be only something one side. Be the best where you are working. Do ministry there, preach Jesus there, but in church, you don't have to have a front ministry, please. You don't have to have a stage ministry. Just usher, put the chairs together. I tell you what, young people will look at it, that's the chairman of a $1 billion company putting the chairs together. I tell you what, you want to leave that kind of legacy.
Yep.
You do. And even by saying it, some of you are going like, yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Right? Then to not be found in church, then not to be found serving, saying that, I'm only called outside, not called inside. No, why do that to you? Why do that to yourself? Why not have both? And again, back to the book again, and write a book that's worth reading.
Pastor, can I ask you something?